So I thought I'd talk a tiny little bit about making some new shrubs cheap in the fall. And this is something that I try to remember to do this time of year because it's so easy. And right in front of me is the start of one. And this is going to be a new pussy willow shrub. So one of the things I remembered when I was outside the other day was, or last week, that I need to move this pussy willow bush. I used to have two here. This can get to be quite a sizable shrub. Even right now, it's probably standing about 10 feet tall. And I cut this back every year. I cut as many of the catkins off, and you can see they've already formed to have little pussy willows in my spring containers and arrangements. So any that are on here, I will cut off. And the benefit of cutting them every year is that you get these long, straight stems that are all new growth this year that have a whole bunch of beautiful little catkins. So I'll have a whole bunch of pussy willow stems. The problem is this shrub is now encroaching on an area that this holly right here would like to spread into, and it's also shading my apple. So rather than move the shrub, I just took a cutting off of it. And I could, back it up with a second one, but with willow, I'm not even worried about it. So that cutting I took and just stuck into a pot that was already outside with soil is going to root readily. And I'm not going to have to do another thing. I'll just have an entirely new shrub I can plant somewhere else. So growing this shrub is so easy. People always think it's because it's a willow, it needs water. And y'all know, if you've been here for a hot second, I grow in sand, and this thing does fine. And this soil is just not even that rich over here. It's just regular garden soil, and it does fantastically well. So anyway, that's the pussy willow. So you can do this with colored dogwood. Let me see if I can find some in here. Let's walk this way a bit. So I have yellow twig dogwood that grows in here. Let's see if I can find any. Oh, right here. So this was just coppiced back hard. You can see there's the yellow twig dogwood. Now, if I wanted to root this, I could do the same thing. Just cut off stems of it and stick it in water, or potting soil. The other thing, and I'm going to pan down to the ground, is you can see this stem, and we'll go over to some of the red twig dogwood too. You can see this stem of the yellow twig dogwood is starting to come out and grow along the ground. If I'm trying to do this while holding the camera. If I were to look where there's leaves coming out of the stem and pick that spot and just put it down into the dirt, and then either cover it with dirt if it will hold it, or put a rock on it so that that stem is in contact now with the soil, that's going to make an entirely new yellow twig dogwood shrub. Many shrubs can be propagated in this way. So if this is weighted down, and I'll have to find a rock or something to hold it, and it's in contact with the soil all through the winter, by springtime, this little guy over here will be a shrub that I can cut off the mother plant and transplant. So let's go look at some red twig dogwood. All right, so right here in this garden, you'll see a dogwood that is, you can just start to see the red bark because it's losing its leaves. It's late in the season. But last fall, when I was doing cleanup in here, there was a branch, and I'll show you where the cut is right there. And right where that cut is on this branch was a stem that was arching down toward the ground. So I anchored it with a rock once I did my fall cleanup and let it go through the winter. And then in the spring, I had another dogwood that I could cut off and move into the garden elsewhere. So I cut it off, and I'll walk over and show you where that is right now. So I wanted this bed right here. No, back out. So the dogwood is right there, and I wanted one right there, and I wanted one right there. So I layered them last fall, and here is the one that I just showed you where it was cut off the mother plant, and you can see it's got a significant amount of roots in the ground. And it, even in this dry summer, it did very well. So it's going to get growing. And then the second one is right there. So that was also done in the same way, bending a stem down, anchoring it with a rock where leaves were coming out, and then letting it go through the winter and early spring. So now I'll take you, let's see, on this side, and there's another set of red twig dogwood in here. That's not a variegated form. And they sort of grow, you can see, well, there's no red on a lot of them. They are due for a cutback, but they're all in here. You can see red on a few of them. So this shrub right here is a swamp dogwood. And last year I took 3 stems. So I'm going to see if I can do it with, while holding the camera. So all I did was come in. Oh, this one has bittersweet growing on it. It's a good thing I'm back here. I'm here to save its life. So here's a stem right here, and I'm just going to cut it. And again, just a about pencil width stem. And all I'm going to do is, here it is. I'm going to stick it right in the ground right here. I'm just going to give it a good shove so that it's in the ground. And the reason fall is such a great time for this, well, I'm going to take this piece of bittersweet off of it that was wrapped around this twig. The reason fall is such a good time for this is because you have consistent moisture. Oops, I just pulled it out of the ground. You have consistent moisture, usually, here in New England, and you're not going to disturb it with anything. So it's just going to be able to sit here all through the whole winter and into spring. And I would say there's probably a better than 80% chance that that is going to root and make a new dogwood. And the other way you can do this, and oftentimes I do it in the wintertime again, is I'll come in here and look for the reddest stems on these dogwoods, whether it's from Ivory Halo or any of the other ones. And so there's another Ivory Halo, and this one was also made in that way. So I've only ever bought one of these shrubs, and all the other ones have been made this way. So I'll just come in and say I was going to use this one. I wouldn't, because this one isn't all that red, but say I was going to in a winter container, I would just cut it, and then I'd bring it over to where I was going to maybe make a winter display in a container. And this container over here is probably going to have a winter display, just not with this particular dogwood. I'm just using this as to show you. And just using this dogwood, and it will have some red in it with whatever evergreens I put in it. And that's just going to stay, again, in this potting soil. And in the springtime, I will say again, probably about an 80% chance that that is going to be another new Ivory Halo dogwood. So I had transplanted, and we'll walk back there and look at them. Last year I had done 3 that way for use out back. So I put 3 twigs into the ground, and I let them go through the winter. And then when I was working back here, and we were just out here last week, Uh, when I was out making the plan for back here, I realized that would be a great shrub for back here because it's just so bulletproof. All right, and there it is right there. And there's one, and you can see they're good size already. Well, this one was smaller. There's the second one, and there's the third one. So 3 that came from last year, sticking stems into the ground. And it's not the only place I did it. Down here, where we're making, should walk through trees to get over here. This little area, again, didn't want to spend any money on any of the shrubs. And I did it with a forsythia, and I did it with dogwood. I wonder if the rabbits ate it, because now I can't find it. Oh, they're definitely in here. There. That's forsythia still, I think. Maybe I didn't do dogwood in here. Maybe I just did forsythia. But same process. Just letting either the forsythia I layer, meaning if I wanted another forsythia over here, and I'm doing it, I'm going to do it here. This branch that's coming down to the ground, all I have to do is weight it so that these stay in contact with the soil, and everywhere it hits the soil, I'll get another shrub, so I can fill this area out for nothing. But this is the best time of year to do it because they're going to have all winter undisturbed, and then you're going to end up with some free shrubs.